be going from this to this. 4 top reasons to go mirrorless. A lot of you know, my wife Eileen and I went mirrorless recently for Blume Studios, a complete conversion. We've been using Nikon brand DSLRs for the 11 years or so that we have been full-time. And we kind of waited knowing that a lot of these companies were going to catch up to the mirrorless trends started by Sony. And so we waited around. In the end, we personally decided to go with Sony for some of the features that it is still well ahead of the game on. I mean, they got kind of a 2-year start on everybody. But there are amazing options from other companies now as well. Canon has the Canon R series of mirrorless cameras. Nikon did come out with the Z6 and now the Z7 with higher resolution. And even when those came out, we kind of stuck with the A7 III, which is an amazing price, quote unquote entry-level camera that actually has some of the most superior features to any camera, especially for an event or wedding photographer. Very fast. Wouldn't necessarily recommend going to the A7R III, which is just a higher resolution camera, unless you're using it for a very specific set of things like commercial, portraiture, that sort of thing. So let's go over, I didn't even end my article this month for Shutter magazine talk about some of the amazing features in this particular camera. The eye autofocus, the animal eye autofocus, pixel shifting, where you can actually take an image and then the sensor moves over and doubles the pixels to increase resolution on the already amazing sensor. There's some of these amazing things, but let's hit up the 4 things that to me were some of the game-changing features that you can find on almost any mirrorless camera now. So some of those are going to be the form factor in general, the focus features, the advanced nature of those, live exposure effect, and some customizations that you can do. So just talking about the form factor, you guys, you can take a look at the difference and how these cameras compare in size. And that for us as wedding photographers has changed the game in terms of how lightweight, how easy it is on our back. Instead of a big, huge belt system or straps, I'm now using just a single spider holster clip that I can just put on my own leather belt. And that form factor means a lot. I know that people at the beginning of the mirrorless revolution would, I think they were trying to keep the DSLR industry alive, but saying, I don't want to hold this little camera, I don't look like a professional. When in reality, my camera I learned on, a professional Canon film camera, sits on the mantle over here, is the same form factor as this. So for most of us who have been in this game for a little while, we're returning back to what's normal instead of using these huge, clunky, early digital DSLR bodies. So don't let that bother you. You'll get used to this right away. It's very comfortable in your hand. In fact, it's more comfortable. I don't have like arthritis in my fingers anymore when I single hand hold this and hold the light or something in the other hand. So form factor is great, especially for us as we travel and fit multiple bodies and lenses in a bag. Focus features on these, guys, I'll be honest, Sony is way ahead of the game on this. It's amazing to me how I can choose eye autofocus for people or animals, and it literally just locks onto a person's eye as I photograph them. They could spin, they could try to run away from me, look away, look back again, and it just keeps sharp focus on their eye. Focus itself is an art form. If you shoot video and you have for years practiced manual focus and keeping focus on someone with a ring, or if you're even using autofocus and back button focus on your DSLR, there's a lot of tricks to the trade, and you're constantly refocusing and trying to get as many images as you can sharp. I just don't miss focus anymore. I mean, this just locks on and it feels like cheating. But that's what technology is for, right? It's supposed to make our lives easier. So this is one area where I'm very happy to get perfect focus images and have 100% of my moments to choose from when I'm culling images. Now, live focus works differently on Canons and Nikons and Sonys. A lot of times for Canon and Nikon, it's going to be a face recognition focus. That's existed in DSLRs, but it's so much more advanced now. And it's light straight to the sensor, making those focus adjustments through hundreds or even thousands of pixels in the moment, instead of reflecting some of that light through your mirror to find focus through the old technology. So very much improved no matter what brand you're going with. I do love the eye autofocus though. So number 3, live exposure effect. If you're used to a mirror camera, you're looking through your camera like a periscope. It's sending the actual light from through your lens to your eye. And in a mirrorless camera, you're actually looking at a small little screen inside, which I thought was going to give me a headache. I thought, I know what point and shoots, how they work. It's going to be delayed. It's advanced now, guys. Very comfortable to look at. I've been using this for many months now for weddings and portraiture. And of course, you can look at the live view mode on the back. I just tend to never do that. I like to have the camera to my face. I like when I'm out in the sun. It's wonderful. I can see my composition without like using a cinema ring, which I used to do to put on the back of my camera to see things in the light. But the crazy thing is, if you put on the settings effect on button, you can turn it on or off. But when you're outside, you can look through this lens anywhere you are and see your exposure in camera. There's no more chimping. You don't have to take a test shot and then hit play and see how it looked. You actually see the lighting scenario take form in your camera before you hit the button. And what that has meant for us, workflow-wise, is very little editing, very little having to correct exposures and things after the fact, more correct in camera. So it's amazing. It's just fun to see that develop in front of your eyes. Of course, all of these cameras, like a lot of DSLRs, have the ability to shoot through your live view mode as well. So the great thing here is, as you look at your camera, you can even set it to show zebra stripes, so you know where your highlights are blown, and you can fix those very easily. Customizations are all over this camera. So the buttons on the outside of a Sony or Canon or Nikon mirrorless are very customizable. And I recommend, one of the things that aggravated me with these cameras is that if you are shooting in silent mode, something I didn't even mention, you can shoot without a click, which is amazing for wedding ceremonies or journalism. You can shoot with no sound at all if you like. But when you're in that mode, it actually or if you have your flash turned on, you don't actually see that live setting view in your camera. So you can set your AEL button on the back so that if you give a quick tap, it'll go back to a normal mode. If you're shooting in the studio and you're exposing very dark because you're going to use studio lighting, well, you still need to be able to see your subject through your camera. You don't want to see a dark screen. So you can tap that button, customize items like that, and just have fun exploring. You're going to need 2 days to play with the menus on this after you buy one for the first time. Get used to it. Don't go out and shoot a wedding right away. But you're going to love what Mirrorless can do for you. Wish you all the best. And Phillip Blume, we'll talk to you next month. Bye.